Hey guys, welcome back to week number 3 of our video for our Wednesday night kids. I just want to say great job to Paisley and Presley. You answered all the questions correctly last week, so you're in first place now of all the kids. The rest of you need to get busy and answer the questions. And also I wanted to tell you, if you have friends that you think would enjoy this, let mom and dad know so they can share our video. We're going to start out by singing 3 songs today. First one we're going to do is Peter, James, and John in the Sailboat, okay? Peter and James and John in the sailboat. Peter and James and John in the sailboat. Peter and James and John in the sailboat out on the deep blue sea. Fished all night, but they caught nothing. Fished all night, but they caught nothing. Fished all night, but they caught nothing out on the deep blue sea. Christ the Lord came walking by the water. Christ the Lord came walking by the water. Christ the Lord came walking by the water out on the deep blue sea. Then their nets were full and breaking. Then their nets were full and breaking. Then their nets were full and breaking out on the deep blue sea. Okay, our next song is I Love Him Better Every Day. I hope you kids are singing really good so mom and dad know how well you know these songs, okay? I love Him better every day. I love Him better every day. Close by His side I will abide. I love Him better every day. I love Him better every day. I love Him better every day. Close by His side I will abide. I love Him better every day. Good job. Our last song then is Do Right. And as I always ask Charlie, what do we do right? She says, because it's right to do. So, do right, because it's right to do. Do right, the Lord is watching you. It's never right to do wrong, so do what's right to do. Do right, the Lord is watching you. Good job. Okay, our story today is called The Winning Word. We just sang a song where we sang some of the words, and this is kind of what this story's about, is a spelling bee actually. When I was in school, spelling was not necessarily my best subject. I was always glad to have a dictionary. Mr. Starkey, on the other hand, was the spelling bee champ of his 5th grade class. I don't know what the winning word was. You might have to ask him later, but he was the champion. Anyway, our story today is about a young man named Fred. He was walking to school spelling underneath his breath, round, R-O-U-N-D, length, L-E-N-G-T-H. And he kept spelling words over and over until he thought he knew his spelling book backwards and forwards. His family was convinced he knew almost the whole dictionary because of the way he had been studying for the last week. He knew he didn't, but he knew he had certainly been studying spelling. It is starting at the beginning of the week. There was a spelling bee, and the winner was to represent his class at the county spelling contest on Saturday. One after another had been spelled down until only Mary Ella and Fred remained. Every day it had been a contest between them, and neither one of them had missed a word. This was Thursday. He knew Miss Harvest would select harder words today. The tie must be broken. Fred began spelling in an undertone again as he got near school. Cover. Teacher. He was spelling them to himself. Mary Ellen was not going to beat him if study and practice meant anything. Classes came and went as they usually do, and now they were settled for spelling. There was air of excitement around in the classroom. Once more, Mary Ellen and Fred were up front facing the class. Back and forth they spelled as Miss Harvest gave out words. Each one was determined to win. Each one was battling hard. The contest closed at the end of the day as it had every other day, a tie. Fred groaned as he watched the kids file from the room. It meant more study. Why couldn't that Mariella just miss a word? But no, she wanted to win the same as he. So there was nothing to do but make sure he really did know every word in the speller. Miss Harvest had promised that that was the only place she would pick the words from. His friend Bill came up and said, "Where are you? What are you doing? I've been standing here for a whole 2 minutes and you haven't even seen me." "I'm sorry, I'm just really thinking hard." "Oh, you're trying out how to figure out how to beat Mariella," said Bill. "Well, right, but there is no way to be able to spell her down." "I know a way," said Bill. "You do? How?" "I've got the answers right here in my hand. You just need to know the words ahead of time." "Know the words? What words?" Fred said. "Why, the ones Miss Harvest will use tomorrow." "Well, that would be just fine," laughed Fred, "but I'm not a mind reader." "You don't have to be," said Bill, "because I have the answers." "You do?" "Yeah, are you interested?" "Well, of course," Fred said. "What's it worth to you?" said Bill. "Worth? I don't understand." "What would you pay me to have the list of words that will be used tomorrow?" "What do you mean? How do you know what's going to be used?" "Well," said Bill, "isn't Miss Harvest my sister? Saw her make up the list last night." "I have the list right here. Look." And he began to unfolded the piece of paper and wave it in front of Fred. "You're not kidding." "No, look." But he held it far away so Fred couldn't really see the words, but he could see that they were typewritten on there. Oh, what a chance, Fred thought. He glanced around the room, but no one was there. Why not? "How about $5, Bill said, whispered to him. Fred thought. He had some money in his pocket. Ooh, in fact, he had probably about $5 in bills and change. Not too much to pay to win. Fred drew his hand out of his pocket. It was clenched tight around the money he had. Should he? No one would know. He thought in his head, your God knows. Oh, yes, God would see. You have $5, don't you, said Bill. Well, yes, I have, Fred replied. Then it's a bargain, said Bill. Fred thought, oh, boy, I don't know. This was such a good opportunity. Come on, Fred, going to buy it or not, said Bill, growing impatient. I can't wait all day. Fred looked at Bill. He was gripping the coins in his hands so tight that they were beginning to hurt. Once more, Bill said, are you going to buy it? Fred gave his answer. No, I don't think so, Bill. Did I hear you right? You're not buying them? You mean you'll let that chance go by? I mean just that, Fred said. But why? Because I'm a Christian, Bill. So what? Christians don't cheat like that. Nope, I'll win the fair way or not at all. You mean you'll let your religion stand in your way? Why, Bill, you just might lose. It's true, but at least I won't have cheated, Bill. I'd rather lose than sin. Rat, sin. You're just narrow-minded. I'll sell the list to Mariella. Fred made no reply but picked up his books and left the room. His mind was filled with anxious thought as he pondered Bill's last remarks. Suppose Mariella did buy. But she won't, he assured himself. She was a Christian too. Nevertheless, he worried. Just suppose she did. Fred woke up from a troubled night's sleep. This was the day, Friday. The spelling champ had to be picked. Ready to go downstairs, Fred paused by his bed and prayed, Lord, I did what I know is right in your sight, and Lord, I've studied hard, so will you please call the right spelling of the words to my mind? All day between classes, Fred studied the word in the speller. Even now, as he settled down in the seat in the spelling classroom, he hastily reviewed his words. You're about to lose, Christian, Bill whispered as he slipped in his seat behind Fred. Mariella's prepared. You know what I mean? Fred's heart sank. He glanced at Mariella as she took her place on the platform. She sure did look confident. So she had bought the list. What a fool I was, Fred thought as he faced her. On and on they battled. The class sat tense and waiting. Someone had to miss. Christian, Miss Harvest flung at Mariella. Christian. C-H-R-I-S-T-I-A-N, Mariella spelled triumphantly. Fred's mind whirled. She spelled it all right, but she sure hadn't practiced it. Buying the list. Cheat. He wished he could tell her what he thought. Fred, spell the word honesty. All of a sudden, Fred, oh, I need to pay attention. And he heard her say, spell the word honesty. Honesty, he pronounced as he glared at Mariella. Honesty. That's what she should have been practicing as a Christian. He glared harder. Her cheeks became red and her eyes wavered as he spelled Honesty. Even before Miss Harvest's wrong reached his ears, Bill knew he had misspelled that word. Mariella was champ. The applause was deafening. Classmates were rushing up to congratulate her. All was noise and confusion. Be a sport, Fred, he said to himself. Go shake her hand. However, Miss Harvest began demanding order. The class settled back in their seats, and a few minutes later, they were dismissed. Fred, wait, Mariella said as she gained his attention. I want to congratulate you. Congratulate me? Fred asked as he looked at her. A little mixed up, aren't you? I should congratulate you. Let me congratulate you, she said, ignoring his remark, for acting like a Christian. Acting like a Christian? Yes, you see, Fred, I heard Bill and you last night. I was standing behind the door. I listened. You did, Fred cried. And in spite of losing, he was suddenly glad he hadn't bargained with Bill. Yes, I heard you refused to buy him, the reason why. Then why did you? Fred blurted out. After all, you're a Christian too. I didn't buy it. Look, it's bad enough you cheated without lying, Fred said. I'm not lying. I didn't buy it. Bill said you did. What? Well, that's what I thought he meant. Look, Fred, I didn't buy it, but I did cheat. Fred looked at her. After you refused to buy it, she said, Bill put the list in Miss Harvest's desk drawer, and I watched him peeking through the crack of the door. So you did win honestly? No. You see, Fred, I stole the list. Stole the list? As soon as Bill left, I slipped from my hiding place and took it out of the drawer. Why? Bill asked in a voice that he didn't even recognize his own. Well, I thought it wouldn't matter, said Mariella. Tears began to run down her face. Sometimes just as long as I won. No one would ever know. But Mariella's a Christian. You knew God would know. Yeah, I thought about it, but I figured I could get away with it. Then Miss Harvest tossed the winning word at me. Christian. All I could think of was how I, a Christian, had sinned. It seemed like everyone must know, and that was all. They were all shouting sinner at me. Mary sobbed. I was miserable. She tried to go on, but couldn't. Fred shifted hopelessly from foot to foot. What does a guy say to a crying girl? He'd rather lose than win by sinning, and he was glad he hadn't yielded to temptation. Nope, he'd rather not be a champ than to be miserable like Mariella. Mariella choked down a sob and continued, I'm sorry. I asked God to forgive me the moment I sat down, and he has. He's washed all those sins away. I know, but I wanted to tell you before I go tell. Go tell, Fred said. Sure, I'm going to go tell Miss Harvest that Fred Banner is the real winner. Congratulations, champ, she cried as she darted from the room. Fred began to pray, and he says, God help me to remember the winning word and to always act like one. Okay, guys, I have 5 questions for you. And if you have trouble with these questions, if you want to have mom and dad or text me or something, I can maybe give you a hint like we do on Wednesday night. I'm not going to give you the answer, but I will give you a hint. Question number 1. Did God forgive Mariella when she prayed and asked for forgiveness? That's an easy one. It's a yes or no question, okay? Did God forgive Mariella when she prayed and asked for forgiveness? Question number 2. What was the winning word? See if you can remember that from the lesson. What was the winning word? Question number 3, and this doesn't have to do with our lesson. These are just some questions I pick out from lessons we've had before. Who walked on the water to Jesus? Who walked on the water to Jesus? Question number 4, who was put in a basket of bulrushes and hid down by the river? Who was put in a basket of bulrushes and hid down by the river? And question number 5, the last one, who was the cousin of Jesus that lived in the wilderness and ate grasshoppers and wild honey? Who was the cousin of Jesus that lived in the wilderness, ate grasshoppers and wild honey? Okay, send me your answers and we will talk with you later. Love you guys.